In the previous scene, we saw the Crown Prince enter Lady Arlen's room, where he became mesmerized by her beauty. When Lady Arlen asked him what he was doing there, he tried to answer, but his face turned red and his heartbeat quickened. He wondered why he was feeling so nervous. Mustering his courage, he replied that he had come to apologize. He did not know she was terminally ill and that she would collapse from running. He felt genuinely guilty for what had happened and promised that he would never make her do something like that again. Arlen, with a blank expression, replied that something like that would not happen again, and that she was fine now. The Crown Prince became confused by her words, not understanding what she was trying to say. Arlen told him not to worry about her. Besides, she already knew she was going to collapse when she ran. She also knew that he had sneaked into her room without permission, because Lord Mehen would never allow anyone to enter her room secretly. She said she would keep it a secret, but told him to leave now, as she still needed to rest since she had not fully recovered yet. The prince still wanted to talk to her, but Arlen ignored him and told him to take care on his way out. She immediately closed the door, leaving the Crown Prince standing outside. He couldn't believe he had just been thrown out like that. After all, he was the Crown Prince. He had some dignity too. After some time, the head maid, head butler, and physician arrived to monitor the situation. The head maid reported that the Crown Prince had just left Lady Arlen's room and that they should check on her. As they were about to enter, they saw Lord Mehen standing outside Lady Arlen's door. The head butler whispered that today's timing was very unfortunate. Lord Mehen had been on edge lately. He even suggested bringing the medicine tomorrow instead. The physician couldn't understand why the two of them were acting strangely, since Lady Arlen needed to take her medicine on time. When they saw Lord Mehen, an angry wolf-like aura seemed to be radiating from him. Terrified by his expression, they decided to retreat for now. However, on the other side, Lord Mehen was not angry, he was confused. What did children of Lady Arlen's age truly want? Was it the gentle warmth of a guardian? Didn't Lady Arlen see him as more of a family member, especially since her father was not here? He was the only one who could protect her. Perhaps he could not give her the warmth and love of a real family, but he still decided to stay by her side no matter what happened. He opened the door and asked Lady Arlen if everything was all right. Lord Mehen's sudden appearance made it clear to her that the Crown Prince had indeed sneaked in to see her. She said everything was fine. Lord Mehen's expression darkened as he moved to inspect her room, but Arlen stopped him. He sat down and apologized, saying he did not mean to interrogate her. He calmly looked at Lady Arlen, confused about why he felt so flustered. Wasn't she supposed to be a burden to him? A burden he was forced to raise simply because his lord had ordered him to? They were not family, nor did they share any deep bond. They were merely guardian and ward. Lady Arlen asked him how often seeing her these days had bothered him. As Lord Mehen tried to clarify himself, she, with a lifeless expression, told him not to waste his time on her. She said she would stay quiet and behave properly, as if she did not even exist. Hearing this, Lord Mehen felt tears well up in his eyes, though he controlled his emotions. He lowered his head and said he would do as my lady wished, then left the room. While walking away, Lord Mehen could not understand why Lady Arlen seemed angry with him. Should he simply ignore her and stay out of her way? Had she meant for him to stop acting like her guardian? But after seeing her lifeless expression, Lord Mehen felt his heart break. He never wanted Lady Arlen to wear such an expression. The real problem was that they both did not understand each other. Arlen believed she was only a burden to Lord Mehen because of her father's command. Meanwhile, Lord Mehen wanted to care for her like real family and give her love and warmth. The next day, a maid entered Lady Arlen's room and told her it was time to take her medicine. As she drank it, the bitterness spread through her mouth. It was a pink liquid medicine she had been taking since childhood. She did not know who had created it, but it prevented her unpredictable seizures and outbursts. It also helped her body, ravaged by illness, recover, though only slightly. Lady Arlen asked where Uni was. The maid replied that Miss Uni had been called to an urgent meeting, so she had come in her place. Lady Arlen knew this was the maid who always spoke behind her back, yet acted prim and proper in front of her. After finishing her medicine, Lady Arlen told her to leave. Once the maid exited, she lay down in her bed, finally enjoying some peace and quiet. On the other side, Graham, the Crown Prince's chamberlain, had been desperately wishing to resign lately. He believed the crown prince had become completely infatuated with Lady Arlin. The prince even had a large framed portrait of her. He often wondered why Lady Arlin was so frail. The crown prince ordered everyone to keep running until they collapsed just like Lady Arlin. Excitedly, the crown prince once told Graham how Lady Arlin had bid him farewell before he left, and he was certain it meant something special. He had clearly fallen in love with Lady Arlin. He even asked Graham what he thought Lady Arlin might be doing at that moment. Sometimes he would order him to find out whether Lady Arlin's health had improved. One day, the crown prince asked if Lady Arlin would be attending the gathering of childhood friends. Graham smiled and said that Lady Arlin's health had greatly improved, and that she had assured him she would attend the gathering. However, when the crown prince entered the room, he did not see Lady Arlin there. Coldly, he told Graham that he had put all his faith in him, and now he was disappointed. Internally, Graham was crying and thinking about resigning, since he could not fulfill his master's wishes. As Graham remained lost in his thoughts, the crown prince asked if he was even listening. "Is this the best you can do?" he demanded. In the end, the gathering of childhood friends concluded earlier than usual. Graham tried to explain that he had received confirmation that Lady Arlin would attend, but she had not come, and it was not his fault. However, the crown prince was not in the mood to listen. He felt very sad that he did not get to see her again. He missed her too much. Finally, the crown prince decided to go meet Lady Arlin himself. If she could not come to him, then he would go to her instead. Before long, the crown prince and Graham arrived at the gates of the Halburn estate. The guards were surprised by the crown prince's sudden visit. "Open the gate quickly," the crown prince ordered. He was clearly desperate to see her. Graham reminded him that they first needed to formally announce their visit. The crown prince paused for a moment, then suddenly began running inside, telling Graham to follow him. He had changed his plan. He decided to appear suddenly and surprise her. Surely she would like that more. Graham could only hope everything would go smoothly and that they would not cause a major problem. As they entered the mansion, the crown prince immediately began searching for Lady Arlin's room. But this time the atmosphere felt different. It used to feel lonely and cold, but now the air seemed tense, as if everyone was on edge. In the distance, the crown prince overheard two maids talking about Lady Arlin. Graham asked what he was doing, but the crown prince signaled him to remain silent. One maid said, "Did you see the face she made when she told me to leave quickly after giving her medicine? She acts like she's someone important. Without Lord Mehen, she's just a half." Even Graham felt sad hearing those words and couldn't believe how they treated Lady Arlin like that. He tried to cover the crown prince's ears, so he wouldn't have to listen to their trash talk. But the crown prince stopped him, saying this conversation was important. He needed to know what they meant. He wanted to understand why they were calling Lady Arlin a half. Another maid added, "Even if she's a half, she's still a noble, isn't she? How many supporters does she think she has to treat Lord Mehen so coldly?" The other laughed loudly and said, "Let's be honest, without Lord Mehen, she would be done already. Lady Arlin is completely useless. She's gonna die soon anyway. She needs to know her place." Hearing this, the crown prince became furious. "And who doesn't know their place?" he demanded. The maids were shocked, not realizing who had been listening. They were used to speaking badly about Lady Arlin behind her back, but they never expected someone like him to overhear them, especially someone who cared deeply about her. When they looked closely, they realized who he was. Their faces turned pale. Graham angrily ordered them to kneel and show respect to the crown prince. In fear, both maids immediately knelt down. One of them tremblingly asked, "What is the matter, Your Highness?" "Silence," the crown prince said coldly. "You have no right to ask me questions. I will ask the questions." He said he was curious about the conversation they were having just moments ago. "Who is the one that doesn't know their place?" There was malice in his tone, born from the intent to defend someone who had been demeaned. For the first time, he felt something cold settle in his chest. Is this what anger feels like? The crown prince thought. "Just moments ago, you were speaking so freely," he continued. "Why are you silent now? Did your tongues get cut off?" After overhearing the confrontation, many servants and maids gathered at the scene. The situation was quickly getting out of control. Lord Mehen soon arrived and asked the crown prince why he was there. The maids realized this was the end for them. Suddenly, one of them noticed Lady Arlin had also arrived. A flicker of hope emerged within them, and they immediately begged her for forgiveness. They apologized for everything they had said and pleaded for mercy. But the Crown Prince interrupted them. There's no point in begging now. It won't change anything. With your own stupidity, you have dug your own graves, calling Lord Mehen an idiot and Lady Arlen a half inside their own mansion. This was unforgivable. Mehen was shocked upon hearing what they had said. As for Lady Arlen, she appeared indifferent. The physician asked her quietly, "Has this happened before?" Lady Arlen answered calmly, "Yes." "Then why didn't you tell anyone?" the doctor asked. "Because everything they said is true," she replied. There was no point in complaining. Hearing this, the doctor felt deeply saddened. How could she endure so much hatred in silence? Lord Mehen learned that the maids had been badmouthing both him and Lady Arlen, and that Arlen had known all along but never told anyone. Furious, he ordered everyone to return to their duties. The butler asked what should be done with the maids. With a cold glare, Lord Mehen commanded them to be locked in prison. He would personally interrogate them. The Crown Prince rushed to Lady Arlen and asked about her health. Seeing him, Arlen thought it would have been better if she had simply stayed in her room. She hadn't expected something so troublesome to happen in the hallway. On the other hand, the Crown Prince's face sparkled with joy after seeing her again. He began examining her condition, asking whether her health had improved. Arlen was slightly annoyed by his excessive concern. He explained that he had even visited the hospital to check on her. Since she hadn't attended the gathering, he assumed she was sick and decided to come personally. Arlen felt strange hearing this. From the beginning, the Crown Prince and she had nothing in common that would make them friends. What had changed his heart to make him visit her like this? She didn't know that he had secretly fallen in love with her. He was cute, but she didn't have the mental peace to appreciate his cuteness. She thanked him for exposing the maid's true behavior. He shyly replied that it was nothing. Although he hadn't originally intended to get involved, he couldn't just stand by. Arlen told him that next time, she would handle it herself. She didn't want to put the Crown Prince in a difficult position. He asked if he had been too bold. Internally, she thought yes, but outwardly, she said no. Still, she thanked him for everything he had done today. As she finished speaking, her vision began to blur. She felt dizzy. Cursed body, why do you feel even weaker than usual? She offered to have someone bring him a glass of juice, but the house was unsettled, and she wasn't feeling well. She told him to leave for now. As he left, the prince told her to take care of herself. Meanwhile, Graham was silently crying, thinking about how much chaos they had caused that day. As Lady Arlen returned to her room, the physician accompanied her and asked whether she felt tired. The doctor offered to help her prepare for bed, saying that if she slept for a while, her condition would improve. But Lady Arlen's dizziness worsened. Before she could even reach her bed, she had already reached her limit. Suddenly, she collapsed onto the floor, leaving the physician completely stunned. In Lord Mehen's office, he called the head steward and asked whether he truly needed to concern himself with this matter. The head steward apologized for the trouble caused by the maids. Mehen asked him if he truly understood how much today's incident had tarnished the name of House Halburn. The head steward said he understood the seriousness of the situation and promised to take full responsibility and resolve the matter as quickly and responsibly as possible. Lord Mehen told him that if he did not want the servants to be fired, he had to investigate the situation properly. After the head steward left, Lord Mehen fell deep into thought. Lady Arlen's sudden change in attitude had shaken him lately. His nerves had become overly sensitive, and the atmosphere in the estate felt unsettled. His attempt to be mindful of Lady Arlen had only led to her overhearing things that children her age should never have to listen to. The fact that maids were badmouthing her behind her back made him even angrier. Suddenly, his butler rushed in after receiving permission to enter. Lord Mehen noticed he had not yet eaten and asked what the matter was. Still catching his breath, the butler said, Lady Arlen." Lord Mehen interrupted, asking if she had decided to resume her education. But the butler, terrified, said that Lady Arlen had suddenly collapsed. Lord Mehen was shocked by the news. First, the maids were exposed, and now Lady Arlen had collapsed. The butler informed him that Dr. Uni was taking care of her. Should they contact the Mage Tower or seek help from the temple as well? Meanwhile, Lady Arlen's condition kept worsening. Her entire body was in pain, and she was screaming in agony. Dr. Uni observed that Lady Arlin was showing seizure symptoms. Lord Mehen quickly arrived at her room and asked the doctor about her condition. Dr. Uni replied that she did not know yet. Lady Arlin had suddenly collapsed and was now seizing. Lord Mehen asked what the attending physician was doing. She replied that he had examined her earlier and had gone to prepare some medicine. He had said tonight would be very difficult for Lady Arlin. Lord Mehen could not understand why she had suddenly suffered a seizure when everything had seemed normal today. Dr. Uni explained that the attending physician believed the cause might be excessive psychological stress from today's events. Lady Arlin had only appeared fine because of the medicine. Her health had never truly improved. Medicine? Lord Mehen asked. Did she take her medicine today? Dr. Uni confirmed that she had taken it, but suddenly realized something and rushed out to check something urgently. Lord Mehen could not understand what was happening. As he was about to follow Dr. Uni, he heard a voice and stopped. It was Lady Arlin, still in pain, crying desperately and repeatedly calling for her mother. The beginning of her old nightmare was always the same. A spotlight shone on a grand piano. A violin ended up in her hands before she even realized it. It looked like she was at an audition. Her mother was there too, beautiful and talented. And she, the daughter who resembled her exactly, stood before her. Her mother had only one wish. She wanted her daughter to become the best in the world. She believed in her completely. Would she be able to fulfill her mother's dream? She couldn't do it, right? Then her mother's voice ended, and the piano accompaniment began without pause. A familiar melody filled the entire room, but she could not lift the bow. She stared at her mother. "You are too far," she whispered. What kind of expression was her mother making? She began to cry. Why had her mother treated her that way? What was she to her? Did she even know? Did she truly love her? All the countless words I couldn't bring myself to say. I missed you. And beneath them all, don't leave me alone. As her mother started to walk away, she desperately called after her. She tried to reach her through the violin in her hands, running toward her. Was she going to be left alone again? It was awful, being left alone in the darkness. Was there anyone who truly loved her? But within that darkness, a small hope emerged. A hand held hers. It was Lord Mehen, embracing her. Her seizure slowly calmed. "Who is it? Is this Mom?" she whispered. Lord Mehen said nothing. He simply held her more tightly. The warmth and love she had longed for were finally there. She fell into a peaceful sleep in Lord Mehen's arms. He softly assured her that everything would be all right. That night, Lady Arlin slept peacefully while Lord Mehen sat beside her, holding her hand. He had instinctively taken her hand, but now she was the one refusing to let go. He could not understand why she had been calling out for her mother with all her heart, someone she had never even seen before. The truth was, she missed her so much, but in this vast mansion, was there truly no one she could say, "I miss her"? If that was the case, then he would always stay by her side. The next beautiful morning, sunlight passed through the door. Lady Arlin slowly woke up. She seemed to look fine. As she rubbed her eyes, she noticed someone sitting beside her. Still half asleep, she looked at him and softly called, "Mom!" But to her surprise, it was not her mother. It was Lord Mehen. She had mistakenly called him Mom. Lord Mehen gently told her that he was not her mother. Lady Arlin was still processing everything. With a nervous expression, Lord Mehen asked how she was feeling, but she called him Mom again. He awkwardly replied that he was actually a man. Suddenly, she started crying as she remembered her mother. Lord Mehen tried to comfort her, thinking how truly unfathomable children were. In the past, one day Duke Halburn had brought a child into the mansion. Public curiosity was immediately directed at her. Everyone wondered who her mother could possibly be. Some whispered she was the daughter of a harlot. Others speculated she was an illegitimate child of noble blood, hidden from scandal. But one thing was certain. She bore the blood of Halburn. The Halburn guardian stone, which only glowed for blood relatives, resonated clearly with Lady Arlin. Lord Mehen had also heard the maid's gossip that the child was undeniably the Duke's daughter. Then who was the mother? Maybe she was the result of true love. The Duke of Halburn in love? That had to be the most absurd sentence he had ever heard. Still, he did not care about his lord's private life. But the child must have felt differently. She was the one at the center of all those rumors. She must have wondered about her parents. Yet, to Lord Mehan's surprise, Lady Arlene had never asked about her mother. He had always thought she would ask one day. He had even prepared a model answer just in case. But she had never asked a single question about her parents. Eventually, it had started to feel natural. He stopped questioning it and assumed she simply wasn't curious. That was what he believed. But now she had proven him wrong. Seeing her cry and call for her mother made him realize, maybe she wasn't indifferent. Maybe she had just been holding everything in all this time. And here the video ends. Let's see what happens next between Lady Arlene and Lord Mehan. Will their bond grow stronger? And what will happen to the maids after being caught red-handed? Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos and see you in the next part.